I'm Hunter.
I'm Rebecca.
I'm Caitlin. I'm Nessa.
This is the Family Showdown! Hello.
Greetings.
Woo!
Party.
Welcome to the top 100 of my games all time after party.
Woot woot. In fact, it's such a party that we might all jump in a bathtub.
Yeah,
There's a tornado just north of us.
Yeah.
I took pictures of it.
Exciting.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's
So,
not going our
it's all right.
direction. We're good. It's
No
just fun.
sirens going off yet.
Nope. We're cool.
All right.
Texas.
Hi.
Welcome to Texas.
All right. So, let me start this off. First off, being the after party to my top 100, this will be full of spoilers. Spoilers.
Spoiler alert.
Spoilers. So if you haven't watched my top 100, at least the parts you want to watch, or the parts you don't mind being spoiled, then you might want to, look the other way. I don't know. But we got a full slate of fun tonight. Lots to talk about. This is a time for you to ask questions. Rebecca's going to have to answer them because that's really small print.
Oh no.
Why
He's
is
just
that-
getting senile.
Why is that print so small?
Isn't it always that small?
Why is that print so small?
These newfangled glasses don't help me read.
All right, Rebecca's going to handle the questions apparently because I can barely read those.
If we do a thematic game based on Hunter's shirt, would it be Kahuna?
No, it'd be that new Quaddle, or what's the name? What's that name? The game where you put the snake pieces, different color snake pieces together?
I don't know this game.
Yeah, that's the game it would be.
Quaddy?
Quaddle. Quaddle,
Quaddle?
right? Quaddle, right?
Like the little animal?
No, it's like a snake. The snake that's on the Mexican.
Oh, yeah.
Quaddle? Yeah.
Okay.
Anyway, that's the game it is.
Um,
If you must ain't know.
okay, cool.
All right. So,
Oh, Quaddle.
so
Yeah,
if
Quaddle, thank you.
you're welcome to go past the spoilers. Well, we'll continue on with our fun evening of festivity, which is going to culminate. Well, not culminate. The climax of which is going to be a trivia contest. You versus Rebecca.
Dude!
I spent many seconds working on this trivia.
Did you know?
This trivia questions.
Many seconds.
So you guys can take Rebecca on. And if you're watching after the fact, you can play along as well and see if you can beat Rebecca.
Possibly.
All right. So
I just got a triple
So let's look at this. We announced the after party. Check. Spoilers. Check. All right. So now we're going to talk about my 100. Ask any questions you want. What games you can't believe are in my top 100. Games that should be in my top 100 that haven't. Some other things. Anything you want to ask, I'll answer. I'll try to answer.
Island.
And if you're watching after the fact, put it down in the comments. I'll try to answer after the fact.
Woo woo.
All right.
Excellent.
So one thing
Okay.
I want to talk while you think of your questions, or if you just whatever you want to do. I'm going to talk about some things I saw, trends that I saw in my top 100. So first off,
Hashtag trending.
First off, my favorite games are tending to be the more interactive games, the more
Multiplayer.
combat-y type games, attacky type games, things where there's lots of interaction, lots of discussion, lots of things going on, things that you can affect what other players are doing and other players can affect what you're doing. That tends to be all my games, pretty much all my games in the top part of my list. I kind of went down the list, and the first game I found that didn't fit that mold was Orleans at 18. Orleans
Okay.
don't really affect the other player. You can kind of take resources off the map they might want, maybe. You would think viticulture wouldn't be one, but if you've ever played viticulture, people are always going to the spots you want. Like always taking the spots you want in that game.
I don't know what you're talking about.
Whereas Orleans is more you're kind of doing your own thing. So all the way down to 18 before you have a game that has you're kind of doing your own thing with your face down.
Sorry, so Corlu, poor thing,
What?
asked if we played Orleans cooperatively. I might someday with someone else.
No, we haven't ever bought that expansion.
Because somebody doesn't like to play co-op.
Well, there's more to it, I think, than just the cooperative piece. But we never bought that expansion. Maybe we should buy it. I'd try it.
No, nope. Nope.
I'd give it a shot.
Nope.
I'd give it a shot.
Nope.
I'd give it a shot.
Nope.
But
Nope,
yeah,
we're good.
so lots of interaction at
I'll
the
play with
top
somebody
part of
else.
Another thing I'm noticing that is a theme of my top part of my list. I'm kind of focusing on the top part of my list. Longer games. There's almost no short games anywhere on my list. The shortest game in my top 20 is Deception. And even that is not short in the fact that you never play it once.
That's so true.
So you're going to play
true.
Deception 3, 4, 5 times. So all my games that are in my top 20 take an hour and a half or more if you include playing Deception 2 or 3 times. So found that was interesting. Even though some of them list 60 minutes as a time.
That's a lie.
there's
Just like cake.
Like they list Western Legends as a 60-minute game for 2 players.
Belly laugh. Okay, sorry.
What's the other one they list for 60 minutes? Was it Viticulture they listed 60 minutes?
Sure, if we speed play it and
Yeah,
don't
it's never-
hate draft each other and be like, oh, you wanted
So
to
there's
go
that.
there.
All right.
We do
So,
that. I don't know what
so some things. So my list, the among the games I picked for my to potentially be in my top 100 was every game I rated at 8 or higher.
Okay.
So I have 236 games currently rated at 8 or higher.
Oh, I have some questions for you, sir.
All right, I'll stop there and answer questions.
Okay. Are there any positions that have large gaps between them, or are they all about the same? Like, for example, I have a huge difference between 17 and 18, but everything between 32 and 64 are relatively close. That's a pretty good question, Nick. Are they pretty even?
Yeah.
Or do you feel like...
No, I don't think there's any big gaps. In fact, my 1 and 2 are really close. My 3 is right behind. My 4 is... If you put a gap maybe between 3 and 4...
Okay.
Between Twilight Imperium and Chesapeake, 18 Chesapeake, there may be a gap there.
Okay.
Pretty good gap there.
So you say, like, every game, like, between each rank, like, above and below, the gaps are pretty even?
Yeah, no,
like,
there's no
that's
big,
interesting.
there's no big jump.
Because I can see that mine may not. I'm
3 and
curious about
4,
that.
I think there's a little bit of a space. I don't think 4 has much of a chance of passing 3 at this point.
Okay. What percentage of... Corlu's asking, what percentage of games have you played more than 3 times?
Of my top 100?
Oh, I have a question.
Let's go through that real quick. More than 3 or 3 or more?
It says more than 3 times.
More than 3.
That's a good question.
You want to chat with them while I go through this real
Oh,
quick?
totally. Hector
I'll
was
do-
asking
let's
what
do-
kind
let's-
of tea.
So let's don't do this forever. Let's just do my top 20.
Okay, so do your top 20. Do
so
your
I'll do
math.
my top 20.
You have to do it quietly if I'm entertaining them.
Oh, okay.
All right, first of all, I'm in the noble order of Huddersfield Board Gaming official mug here. And I have Tezo's Vanilla Bean Macaron this evening. Because I wanted some low caffeine, because I've already had some caffeine today. And I needed something that smelled really good. And it just smells like candy. I love some of these teas that have the... I call them the frou-frou flavors that are all, like, super crazy like that. I love it. I like green teas. I like oolongs. I like... Oh my gosh. I'm not picky about tea. I really like a lot of teas.
Of my top 20...
Earl Grey, hot, always.
Of my top 20, I've
Okay.
played 16 of them more than 3 times.
Nice.
So what's
What
the percentage there? 80%.
I was like, I could do that one because I grade a lot of papers out of 20 points. Okay, anyway.
So yeah, almost
That's pretty good.
the games I haven't played more than 3 times. City of the Big Shoulders, I played exactly 3 times. 18 Chesapeake, I've played twice.
Yeah.
If you include online. Heroes of Land and Sea and Air, I've played twice. And on Mars, I've only played once. But
We're gonna change
but
that.
the rest of the games
week,
in my top
actually.
20, I've played more than 3 times.
Yep. Aw, gaming wife, you're complimenting the mug. Was it this mug or this mug?
This
I'm just
mug.
messing with it. Or that mug. Okay. Let's see here. Da-da-da-da-da. What is the Latin phrase on my shirt? Oh, I love the shirt. This is one of my favorite phrases. Okay, so supposedly the real story of the 300. The movie's obviously BS, by the way. But Leonidas was pretty BA, shall we say, since it's a family show.
Yes.
He,
Baracus?
yes, he was. So, bodaciously awesome. That's what I tell the girls it means.
Oh.
So, anyway, with, the Persians were coming attacking, and they kept saying, why are you even going to fight? Because, they have so many archers and so many arrows that they will blot out the sun. And then he says, obviously he said it in Greek instead of Latin, but he says, therefore we will fight in the shade. And I'm like,
what does that say?
Yes! This says, in umbra igitur pugnabimus, which is, therefore we will fight in the shade. And I'm like, yeah! That doesn't get you wanting to go.
So they got one of the lines right in the movie.
Yes. Dude, okay, that guy in real life was like, he was BA, I'm just saying. So, I mean, it's just cool. And this is one of my favorite quotes, because I'm like, this is awesome. And it happens to be like a random Latin club shirt that they sold at Nationals. And I saw that and I was like, I must have this.
It's Tommy's birthday? What are you doing hanging out with us?
Dude, happy birthday. It's a party. We're having a party here. We'll have a party for Tommy. Virtual party.
All right, so, any more questions? Or
let's see. Okay, so yes. Let's see here. Oh yes, I want to walk in Huddersfield too. I agree.
You might run into Dan there.
I know, it'd be cool. Although that wild, doesn't he have geese? Was it a wild goose? There's a wild goose you gotta watch out for. So Albert says, I notice you like everything from very thematic games to heavy economic simulations. What are the most important things you look for in a game? And is there something that unites these different genres? I like that.
Yes, the things that challenge me mentally. So if it's a heavy economic game, I'm looking for logistics. I'm looking for the best efficient way to do things. I'm trying to figure out this puzzle. If I want to do this thing, how's the most efficient way to do that? So it's got my brain matters flopping around.
No, that's an image.
And the attacky games are the same way, but it's a different thinking. Because then you're trying to outplay your opponent, right? You're trying to say, okay, what are they going to do? How are they going to react? And what do I do to defend against that? And how do I attack that? So it's games that get me thinking. If you look, there's very few games on my list, my entire top 100, where it's just kind of fluff and you're just kind of doing, playing the game. In fact, I probably could count on one hand. They talk about my brain thing.
Yeah.
So I could probably count on one hand the number of games in my top 100 where you just sit down and it's just a casual game. I just don't, that doesn't.
Okay, but how does your brain work with Pit?
Your brain has to go 1,000 miles an hour when you do Pit. Is Pit still in my top 100?
If not, it should be.
It is.
Yeah.
So
it was.
Even then, your brain's gonna be 100 miles an hour. But that was one I would count on one hand because I don't consider that a big brain burning game.
Right.
But you have to be quick and think. But yeah, I like if I want to relax and not have my brain going, then I'm going to watch a movie or watch a TV show or do something like that, right? I'm not playing board games I'm not one of those people that play board games to relax. I play board games to...
I was added.
To work.
I was added there.
To work.
Don't at me, bro.
I do play board games to keep
work?
It keeps me mentally going. It knocks off the rust of my head and gets
nothing like that brain matter flopping around and knocking some rust out.
But yeah,
which is why Nick thinks that's why you like Splendor, because the brain activity is whose turn is it?
No, I despise Splendor because
whose turn is it? You don't know. It's a social deduction game on top of it. No,
it is kind of a social deduction game because
it's too meta for him.
You have to ask whose turn it is. Yeah, I don't, for whatever reason, that's not what I go. A lot of people go for look for games to relax and to kind of forget things, and we do kind of forget the real world, but to relax and just kind of go with the flow and draw cards and play cards, and no, that's not why I play games. I play games to get the brain going.
Which is why they believe you're secretly a cyborg. All right, so do you? I saw it. Where to go? Zeris is asking, did any of the top 100 have paper money?
Yes.
I like these questions. You guys have good questions.
I use poker chips in place of paper money.
We do.
But let me go through. I know for a fact that 18 Chesapeake and 1846
have
paper money. Or maybe it's plastic money.
Same diff.
Is Power Grid still in my top 100?
Yeah.
Here I did alphabetical order. Someone suggested I should do alphabetical order, so I did alphabetical order.
Ooh, clever.
So Power Grid is not in my top 100 anymore. That one uses paper
Trash.
money.
Throw that whole list away.
Throw it away. Oh, throw the list away? I meant the game.
Yep.
Not many. The 18XX games, that's maybe it. Raccoon Tycoon, we got coins for, but it had plastic money. Food Chain Magnate, I think, has paper money. But again, people use poker chips instead. But yeah, anytime there's
a lot of them actually. I was thinking
we use poker chips for almost every game now, unless we have metal coins for them.
Which I like the metal coins.
Then we use poker chips for money for everything, unless it has to fit on the board in a certain way where poker chips won't work. Then we don't use poker chips.
Okay, so Nick, he says my next game design will be called Pivot Table Quarterly Report, and Hunter will be the playtester.
That would be pretty good because then you not only do you have to design the spreadsheet and the pivot table, you have the interaction of presenting your report, and then it's kind of like apples to apples. People vote on which presentation they like the best.
That's going to be bad for your wallflowers, though, that are all about crunching numbers.
That's not their kind of game. They go play some wallflower game. Pivot Table, the game, is not
it's a
for
little
wallflowers.
niche anyway, and you're also excluding the majority of that niche group.
That's true. There's not a lot of people.
I'm going to say...
I am an anomaly. I am the outspoken accountant.
Yeah, that's odd. Just saying. That wears loud shirts.
Nope.
Let's see here. Let's see.
I like these questions. Keep them coming.
I know, right? Okay,
That's why we're doing this.
Play it before trying Power Grid. What are you going to play before Power Grid, Corlew? I'm confused. Was it Nick's Pivot Table game? Just put it on Kickstarter and make sure there are minis, and you'll make millions.
What's the
Boom,
minis?
Nick.
Like little office workers? You have a little boss. A little angry boss. He has like He has like little tentacles coming out of his head.
I think you should have several types of bosses to make it replayability high. You gotta have Coffee Tup. I'd like you to work Saturday. Okay, you need that guy. You need the Office Space boss, and then you need the angry tentacle perfectionist guy that's like, you used the wrong font in this field. Redo the whole thing. You know.
Like
Yeah, I know. Me too. I hate those.
All right, let's continue back to
Bill
what I was.
Lumberg.
All right, we'll go back to what I was
Nailed
saying
it.
before I was.
Yes, go ahead,
Was not rudely, but.
No, I was going to
interrupted.
say we were interrupted with fantastic
All right, so
questions.
there's 236 games I rate an 8 or higher.
Okay.
All right, and that's basically my line in the sand for making my list.
The line must
But
have gone
I just looked.
Yeah, enough further.
I just looked. I did a little research for the
Oh,
show.
dear, you did research.
I have 25 10s and 106 9s, which adds up to 134. So next year, should I make the 9 the line and have less information?
Now we're going to be bored, because all you have to do is go look up your top 100 your top numbers on BGG, and we know your top 100 list, basically. Yeah.
No.
It's only like 30 numbers over.
No.
Man.
But personally, I don't think that's no, that's not right. I have 25 10s, 81 9s for 106 games. It doesn't even make my 110, because I do a top 110 on the show.
Okay, so let me ask you a question then.
So it's going to stay 8s is what I'm trying to say.
Okay.
So it's going to be more closer to probably 250, 270 next year.
Do you rate your games purely by how good a game they are, or how good the game they are, and how much you like them when you rate them on BGG? Do you try to be like...
No, I do not do this. I can see how this would be a great game, but it's not for me. No, I rate how much I like it. Because,
Okay, I was
because if
curious.
you look at the BGG ratings, the way they're rated is how much you want to play that game. Because if you look at the way they actually have a chart and they say 10s will always play, 9s will play under most circumstances, blah blah blah. So it's how much you want to play the game.
I would think so, but...
Is how you're supposed to rate the game.
Yes, but
you
that's
can't
not
go.
how...
You can't go. Well, this game is really fundamentally sound. It has great mechanisms, but it's not my type of game. I'm still going to give it a 9. No, that's not how you're supposed to rate the games.
But some people look at it. Some people like to look at it more objectively or whatever instead of subjectively, so they rate it.
Well, if that's what you want to do, that's cool. But technically,
Okay.
Technically.
Just so you're sticking to the
Technically,
law.
if you look at the BGG ratings, it's how much you want to play that game.
It is, absolutely.
And so, yeah.
Yeah.
So I'm going to continue to do 8s is what I'm trying to say after all that.
And Corlew, I am the exact same way because I will forget how the rating system is, and to keep myself straight on that too, to make sure I do judge it that way, I look at their equivalent, like the numbers, like he said, that I would play this all the time. That's how I would rank them too.
Yeah, like a 6 is like I would play if offered, but I wouldn't choose to play this game myself or something like that.
Xeris, I totally get that, and he said the same thing. That's why Journey into Middle Earth got a 2. I totally get that because we were actually just talking about some of those games like that where we really wanted to love that game, but because we don't feel like immersed in it or involved in it or just don't feel like it's engaging enough, we would highly dock it like that.
Well, that's
for the same reason.
That's a great segue to what I was about to talk about.
It's like I've
come to the conclusion. I sat down.
You have conclusions?
And thought hard about my life. And I've come to the conclusion I don't like campaign games.
Um.
I like legacy games.
Okay, I was gonna say.
I like legacy
okay,
games where you start off and you learn and grow and things. But I just can't make myself play campaign games. I want to love Gloomhaven. I want to love it. Part of me like my left elbow loves Gloomhaven, but the rest of me, after playing Gloomhaven, I know this Gloomhaven is the #1 game of all time, and everyone loves it, and there's amazing things in sliced bread. I understand that. This is one of those situations where I understand mechanically, it's great, it's awesome. But after playing a couple games of it, I'm like, this is work. I am having to force myself to play this.
Would it be better if you were playing with me?
No.
You think it'd still be considered work? You think
Look at Middle Earth.
Yeah, that's true.
I part of me wants to love those kind of games, but it's just like when I play a couple of games and I'm like, I just don't want to set the board up again and play. It saddens me a little bit.
If it wasn't this year,
18-year-old Hunter is crying right now because.
Well, no. I'm just curious. If it wasn't this year, would it be better?
Huh?
Do you think if it wasn't this year? Yeah, okay, I'm just curious because this year has kind of tainted things.
I just can't. I can't. I've set up. I played the first scenario of Gloomhaven 4 times. I played the second scenario twice. I've never played the third one.
Yeah.
I just can't force myself to do it.
Yeah.
I just don't know why. I want the same way with Journeys in Middle Earth. We played 2 or 3 times, and I'm like, I don't need to play it again.
Yeah. Well, and like Alber's agreeing with you too, like saying, the overarching story is not that great, and it's Coralie says you hit your funny bone too many times. But like Xeris, the same thing kind of too with like Near and Far. You want it to evolve. You don't want it just to be another map. You want not a scenario based, which I think Albert, didn't you mention too that Gloomhaven is a lot like just scenario based, really.
I mean, you do some development, but it's so small. It's so minor. But yeah, I don't know. I could play now. You give me a legacy game where every game seems different. You're learning new stuff. Things are going on. Your surprises are happening. I don't know. But I've come to terms that I'm not buying any more campaign games. I mean, there's some games that I'll play. Like, I love Arcadia Quest, but it's kind of it's zippy, and you get a lot of new items, and you're developing, and you play 6 times and you're done. But I cannot even in my wildest dreams imagine playing Gloomhaven 50 times in a row, or however many times it takes to finish the campaign. I can't. So I've come to terms. I'm not buying any more campaign games.
Right.
I'm just done. I'm done.
I get that. I'm sorry, I never do this, guys, but I'm just triple checking, make sure everything tracked north like it was originally doing. Okay.
For example,
I thought I heard the siren going off.
Remember how I said there's 236 games? My number 235 is Descent: Journeys in the Dark. Because that's another game I played once or twice.
Yeah,
and never went
and that
further.
Was a while ago, too.
And I never went.
Yeah.
We did. I think the furthest we got was 4 scenarios in, and then we stopped playing. Just above that, the D&D, the Legends of Drizzt board game. That one's scenario based, but still. And then a couple above that is the Elemental Evil game. Those games, I don't know. I'm done.
Yeah.
Younger me would have loved it, man. If I was a teenager in high school,
yeah,
me and my buds, we would be playing Gloomhaven every weekend. But
it's the MMO player in us. Yeah, that could be very true, too. That could be very true. Well, and I think, I don't know. Part of it, I think, too, is you really like playing the new games, and you're replaying the game.
Yeah, and there's just a slight difference, right? In those campaign games, you might have a slight, you'll encounter a different monster, or you may have this different objective, but you're playing the same game. You're doing the same actions.
Which is also why you don't like the samey legacy games.
Yeah.
Because you're just replaying the game.
I don't have any interest really in playing Showdown again, but I mean the actual game. Again, because we.
See, I think it would be fun. I liked Charterstone. I liked the way it played. I would actually play that legacy game after the fact. Sorry, anyway.
You're freaking me out.
Sorry, there's lights flickering when
all right,
the children left the TV on.
So let's move on to a couple of things I want to discuss. I want to hash out.
Okay, hash.
So I put on before I did my top 100 list, I put a couple of polls on our Board Game Geek Guild down in the discussion.
Okay.
I'll let you guys decide whether I put 18xx games individually or wrap them up into one game, one line, basically include them as one entry, as well as all legacy games are valid even though they're unplayable again and they were played in the past. Like last year, I just did legacy games I played that year.
Mm-hmm.
This time, I put legacy games throughout my list. What did you guys think?
Ooh.
Because there was 4 places.
What did you think?
4 places were taken up by 18xx games. So 4 games in my top 54 were 18xx games. And I had 3 legacy games on my list. 3 legacy games on my list, whereas there would only be 1 if I was following my previous rule of only current year games being on the list. So what do you think? Anything?
Wait, give him a second. Gotta give him a second.
It's only 10 seconds.
Oh my gosh.
Come on. Well, let me know.
Ooh, yeah, Clank Legacy from Christmas. Yeah, I hope you guys get to play it. It's awesome. Prefer separate 18xx games and new legacy games.
Yeah, I think I want to take a step back and not do legacy spread out because you're just kind of throwing them in a spot. I really didn't feel comfortable where I put them. I kind of went, this feels the right spot, and they're just continually going down, and really that gives a bad. If someone was watching my top 100 and they saw that number 83 was Pandemic Legacy Season 2, they're like, oh, that's not that great of a game. It's down in the 80s. Meh. But when it came out, it was probably in my top 20 or even higher than that. Yeah. Pandemic Legacy Season 1, which was 34 this time, so you think, oh, it's pretty good. It was my number 6 the year I played it. So it kind of gives it a false impression of how good the game is because it's getting punished. I said the word punished. What's the world coming to? It got punitated because it's older, right? We played it 5 years ago. Has it been 5 years? Wow. Anyway, 4 years ago. 4 years ago. We played it 4 years ago. So it's getting punished just because it's down the list, but it was in my top 10. So I think it gives the wrong impression because there's two schools of thought here. So for Pandemic Legacy Season 1, I love that. It was my best legacy experience. Not anymore, but it was. It was my number 6 when it came out. So when I rate it, if I include previous years, I rate it on that initial experience and keep it in the top 10?
No, because it's not where it is now.
Or do I look at it as, something I enjoyed in the past and I can't ever play it again, so it's kind of not as good as it was? It's just really hard to rate those games.
And a lot of people seem to be saying that too, that it's a lot of people comment. In fact, where is it? Because I saw a really good comment. Michael said, I liked that you included multiple 18xx games because I didn't really know what they were before now. Right. And now I pre-ordered 18 Chesapeake.
Right.
So that's really cool. Because, yeah, you're right. You do actually learn about the games individually. That's pretty good.
And that's another problem is when you talk about a legacy game, you can only just kind of brush on the surface of it, right? Of what the experience was. You can't really talk about specifics.
And, yeah, you almost do need and see, Corley's mentioning, too, like, you almost need a second tops list just for legacy games. It's almost like they really fit in their own category.
Well, when we get up to 10 of them, then we'll do a top 10.
Yeah, that's not a bad idea.
We just don't have 10 yet.
Oh, that's a good idea, Nick. Putting the previously completed legacy games in the intro show, like giving them their own little ranking kind of thing.
Good.
Talk about
that's
them. That's a good idea.
That's a good idea.
But a lot of people, I saw several people mentioning that they really like the separate. And tell me if I'm wrong in this. Just generalized what I read really quickly is the separate 18xx has been really cool, but maybe only the legacy games that are replayable / you played this year.
Yeah, I can see that. I can see that
because of that.
That's
and I think that's cool.
Fair enough.
1840.
What's that?
You're funny. Okay, no, they're talking about just being silly about.
But all the 18xx games have similarities, but they're all very different. Not very different. They're all different from each other, right? They all have different rule sets.
Yeah.
Everybody says Chesapeake is 18. Someone put 18 cheesecake.
Yeah, cheesecake. Coraloo's like, you mean 18 cheesecake. That's greatness.
All right. We're half hour in.
I know. You guys are rocking it. If you do...
You know what that means.
Point salad for the rest of the week.
You know what that means.
I love you guys. What is it?
It's time for trivia.
Oh, baby. Let's do it.
You versus Rebecca in Hunter's Top 100 Trivia.
This is going to be so bad.
I can't wait.
You guys are going to destroy me.
I can't wait. So the way it's going to work is, I got a hot little timer right here. When I ask the question, you guys can answer. But how many people we have in chat? 16. But there's two types of questions. There's one that has multiple answers. There's ones that have multiple answers.
Okay, you going to tell us when that is?
Yes.
Okay.
And there's others that have one answer. There's one correct answer. So there's two types of questions. For the ones that have one correct answer, each of you can only put one answer. So don't cheat. One answer each. But those that have multiple answers, you guys can go crazy and answer as much as you want. Either way, you guys have 30 seconds to answer. And then Rebecca will have 30 seconds to answer.
Should I be writing mine down then?
Yes, so you should write yours down. So, and we'll see who does the best.
Where'd my other cool pen go?
All right, you got that? Got that?
On. It's on, suckers!
There are 7 questions.
Take you out.
Whoever gets the most wins.
A nice, mostly blank page. I'll just...
Some are harder than others. Some are easy. Some are hard. Okay, you guys ready? Remember, one answer each for the single answer questions, and the ones that have multiple answers, you guys can go crazy. Just fire out. Just go crazy. You got 30 seconds. Put as many you want.
Are you going to delay flipping this over?
No, I'm going to look at the camera, and I'm going to see when I flip it. And I can see when your time starts.
He's got your back. He's got your back.
I can see.
He's got your back.
I can see the delay over there.
They're already talking. It's either always Munchkin, or the answer is C. What was that? You guys have some good,
All right, I'm gonna start you off. I'm gonna start you off with an easy question.
Okay.
If you guys watched the top 100 and paid attention, this would be an easy question.
Okay.
Okay.
So I have to go by the timer.
All right, here you go. Here is your question. Which game in my top 100 that stayed in my top 100 dropped the furthest?
Ugh, biggest drop.
Biggest drop. Go!
Freak.
Don't look at the chat.
I'm not. I'm looking up into my filing cabinet that's empty and full of cobwebs, so I guess it's not empty. It's got something in it.
Wow. I'm impressed.
I only get 30 seconds.
You only get 30 seconds.
I need like 5 minutes. Oh gosh. Gave it a it's not the one.
Time's up! So, I can't read that.
Oh, I'll read it.
No, the
Gaia Project.
No, the Nick, what? A. Alber, and Zeris got the answer correct.
Blood Rage?
Blood Rage is the answer.
Guess what, suckers? I put Blood Rage too.
Yeah, you did.
Boom!
It's 1-1. Well played, folks. Well played.
You guys are rocking.
All right,
this.
here we go.
Okay.
Here we go. I got to reset my timer.
I do remember the emotional response. Thank you, Coralu. That's kind of where I was going. I was like, okay, where is it?
All right.
Where is it? Okay.
Here we go.
Okay, number 2.
This is a listy question, so you guys can go crazy.
Okay, I'm ready.
You guys can go crazy.
Ready?
Answer as quickly and as much as you want. Now,
okay.
There is no wrong. Well, there's wrong answers, but if you get an answer wrong, there's no minus for it. You, on the other hand, have to give me. Yeah, there's no wrong answers. So you ready? No wrong answers. If you answer wrong, there's no punishment. There's no penalty.
Oh, I was like,
answers.
There's no wrong answers.
Here's the question.
Okay.
Name all the games that have been in my list, my top 100 list. All 6 years I've made my top 100. Games that have been on my top 100 list all 6 times I made my top 100. Go.
Holy crap. I mean that nicely. I'll think of... All 6 years. Have we had that game that long? Oh, you said we don't get docked for wrong ones, so I'm gonna... Wait, that's not on this year, is it? I'm putting it.
That's it. Time.
Okay.
The internet got 4 correct answers.
Did they? All right. Well,
what would you put for your answers?
I have Viticulture.
Viticulture's correct.
Pit.
Correct.
Merchants and Marauders.
Correct.
Mission Red Planet.
Incorrect.
Boo. Castles of Burgundy.
Incorrect.
Crap.
That's it?
Yeah.
The internet beat you. The internet got 4 games correct.
You guys suck.
War of the Ring,
I was getting there.
Viticulture, Star Trek Fleet Captains, and Pitt was their answers. The ones that were not mentioned, Zaya, Pillars of the Earth,
Really? Oh.
Battlestar Galactica,
Oh, of course.
Sheriff of Nottingham,
That's what I've been around?
The Resistance,
Of course.
Wits and Wagers,
Really?
and Shadows over Camelot.
Wow.
I've been on my list all 6 years.
Wow.
The internet wins that one, 4-3. Well played, internet. Right, back to another easy one. Which of my games that were on my top 100 last year went up the most? Which game was my biggest gainer from last year?
Oh, crap.
Which one went up the most? Yeah, only 12 games. Not to interrupt. Only 12 games were on my list all 6 years.
That's really crazy.
But we were looking back. I was looking back at the 2015, my top 100 back then. I barely had over 100 gamer games, hobby games on my list. And I even had to throw in some kind of mass marketing type games to get the top 100 back then. Oh, done. Let's see. They only answered. None of those answers are correct. Sorry, internet. What did you answer?
Deception?
Nope. The answer is Brass Birmingham.
That one doesn't count. Boo!
Brass Birmingham. So I didn't say Blood Rage dropped 61 spots.
Okay.
And Brass Birmingham went up 40 spots.
Good grief.
All right. Let's move up to another listy
Number
one.
4.
This is a listy list.
Listy one.
We're doing a listy list.
Listy one.
Name all the games that have been in my top 3 over the last 6 years. Doesn't matter how many times. All the games that have been in my top 3 over the last 6 years. All the games that have been in my top 3 over the last 6 years.
Oh my gosh, why am I blanking now?
I love that the one guy's listing games I've never played.
That's great.
He must be. It's funny.
I like it. I'm going to stop there because
That's it. Time.
Okay.
All right. So, hold on. Let's see if they got any more.
Yeah. Hoser and Nick popped in time.
Did anyone? Nope. They got that one.
Oh, crap. Yeah.
All right.
Nick, you got a couple I didn't even... I'm slow. I don't know why I blanked. That's easy for me. I
All right. So, how many? What'd you got?
Star Trek Fleet Captains.
Nope. It was never in the top 3.
Fleet Captains?
Never in the top 3. Fleet Captains was 5, 8, 8, 5, 10, and 15.
What is wrong with you?
Continue with your answers.
War of the Ring.
Correct.
Viticulture.
Correct.
Zaya.
Zaya's never been in the top 3.
BSG.
Never in the top 3.
What?
They got 4.
Wrong.
They got 5, and you got 3. Or 2. They got War of the Rings.
Yeah.
Wait, did they say Twilight Imperium?
Yeah, Nick did. I think it was Nick. No.
Zara said Twilight Imperium.
Hoser said it too.
I marked it.
Hoser said it too.
So the internet got War of the Ring, Twilight Imperium, Champions of Midgard, Viticulture, and City of the Big Shoulders.
Yeah, you guys destroying me.
And you said, which ones you say?
War of the Ring and Viticulture.
Which they already said. The ones that were not mentioned, Through the Ages,
Oh yeah, that wasn't your top.
Couriers, and Dice Masters.
Wow, the mighty have fallen.
They have. They're not even my top 100 anymore.
Wow.
There you go. Internet wins again, man. This is sad, Rebecca.
Dude, what's funny is if I have time, I know these. You're giving me a time crunch. I instantly...
All right, here is by far the hardest question.
I will blank on something.
If you get this question, if anyone gets this question right...
Just because there's a time pressure.
You personally win. I just thought this was interesting, so I added it.
Oh, no.
Not including Rex, which I removed and replaced with Dune. What game dropped the furthest out of my top 100?
Oh, nuts.
Which game was in my top 100 last year dropped the furthest out of my top 100? And I'll give you, I don't know if this is not going to help you, but it dropped all the way down to 159. It was 98 last year. There's a clue. Dropped all the way to 159.
I'll just put it because I don't remember.
All right, that's it.
Okay.
It's a Castles of Burgundy. You had the right designer. You've had the right designer.
I might have a chance. Aquasphere?
No.
Darn it.
Forum Trajanum.
Oh, that's right. And I wanted to slap you for that.
And you were. And what's funny is when we were playing it, we replayed it recently. I'm like, yeah, I'm not a big fan of this one. Is as much.
Yeah, I know.
You even had a clue. So no points for that one. That one was just for funsies. I didn't think you would get it.
Haha, for funsies. He would have given you points.
Let's move on to an easier question. Which designer appears most in my top 100?
Ugh.
Which designer appears most in my top 100? Oh, I need to do the timer, although. Yeah.
Oh, man. I'm going to stick with my answer.
What's your answer?
Is it time?
Oh, wait, it's not time yet. Hold on.
No,
Hold on. Let's wait. Let's wait till the timer runs
that
out.
has to be cheating. Hey! I need what I you guys get to pool your answers. I at least get to look at the wall side.
They're answering individually on these. on the ones where it's a list, they can work together.
Counting. I'm not that good. You're giving me far too
All right,
much credit.
So Vital Lacerta was on my list 5 times.
Yeah.
Uwe Rosenberg was on my list 5 times.
Mm-hmm.
But Stefan Feld was on my list 6 times. Stefan Feld is still number 1. Yes. So you both got that one.
Feld, baby. Right there.
Like 7 people answered Feld.
So?
Few people answered Uwe. That's close. It's close.
1-1, baby.
But
that still only counts as 1.
That's funny.
Sorry.
All right. How many questions? How many? Is
that was
1,
6.
2, 3, 4. Last question.
Ooh, okay.
This
Lucky
one-
number 7.
This one I found interesting.
Uh-oh. What is it about spreadsheets?
If you were paying attention earlier in the show,
definitely not.
I have 25 games I rate a 10. 25 games I rate a 10.
You want me to list these?
Nope.
Oh.
You need name the 4 games I rate a 10 that is not in my top 25.
That's garbage. Why would you do that? That's garbage. Oh.
So you should be in the top 25, right? I have 25 10s. That should be in my top 25.
Yeah.
There's 4 games I rate a 10.
Clearly, your ranking system's a bit off in BGG. Then
There's 2.
You have a
There's
little
2 I need.
editing?
I'll give you a clue. There's 2 I need to flip this over. There's 2 I need to update, and there's 2 that has a legitimate reason.
Okay.
4 games I rate a 10. That is not in my top 25 because there's 25 10s. I'm working geek.
Okay.
It's guessing.
It's 2?
It's totally
guessing.
guessing.
There's 2?
There's 4.
There's 4.
There's 2 that have a legitimate reason, and there's 2 that probably need their rating changed. And I did kind of talk about both of these.
Of course you did.
Both of the ones that need their rating changed, I kind of talked about during the videos.
I'm staring at the games and I don't even...
All right. Someone actually got one right. Nick got Pandemic Legacy Season 1.
Oh, holy good goodness. I hadn't even thought about that.
The other game, which makes sense, is Twilight Imperium 3. Because it got replaced with Twilight Imperium 4. Is why it's not on my list. So those are the 2 that make sense.
Okay.
The other 2 that don't make sense, that need to have their ratings changed, potentially.
I can't cross my fingers with my pen.
Oracle of Delphi I rate a 10. It's on my number 25 game, so it's kind of in the same ballpark, so that's okay.
Can I get one?
Huh?
Oh, nothing. I'm crossing my fingers.
The other one is Rising Sun.
Ah, for crying out loud, I missed all of them.
Rising Sun dropped all the way down to 42, and I think it might be going down to a 9. Unless I play it again. That might
Wait, I thought...
That one kind of got punished because we can't play it.
I was going to say, that's
We played it
that's
once,
not
and we
fair.
haven't played it since.
That's not fair.
So the internet
I want to play that
won
again.
that one as well, thanks to Nick. Nick is the MVP.
Yeah, oh, yeah, I hear you, Game and Wife. You guys are getting it down south, too? This whole band of storms is
So the
full of
final
tornadoes.
score, Internet 5, Rebecca 2.
Didn't I get 3?
No. 2. You got Steffenfeld and Blood Rage, and that's it. Good job, Internet. That was well played. Well played.
Boo!
But that leads into my next discussion that I want to talk about is
I don't have it in memory.
I'm very bad about going back and re-rating games.
Oh yeah, I haven't even rated games in a while. I'm terrible.
I think before my next top 100, I'm going to go through every single game I've rated
Okay.
and re-rate them. Because the reason I say that is because my gut says out there somewhere in the big world is a game I rated a 7
And it's not.
that I'm completely ignoring for this list. That really should be maybe an 8 or a 9, and then not only that puts it in the shuffle of analyzing games, and it may end up higher on the list. So I'm gonna go back and re-rate every game, and when I re-rate the games, I'm going to rate even the children's games. I'm gonna rate them how much I want to play them, because I have a smattering of kids games that are on my list that really probably shouldn't be on my list. Because it's my list. It's not a family list. It's not a kid's list. It's my list.
Mm-hmm.
So, there you go.
That's exciting.
All right. So there you go. That was the quiz and the lead into why I did that. Because it made me think about the ratings of games, and I think it's interesting that I only have 25 10s out of, I think I've rated like 700 or 800 games.
Yeah, that is pretty interesting, especially since when we purchase games, as we've told you before, we research them heavily, so we're pretty sure we're already going to like the game, which means it's probably going to be a 7 or higher upon purchase.
Right.
So the odds of us, I mean, we're not like a normal reviewer in the fact that we're not going to review all the games and have some duds and blah, 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 because we're not looking for those and we're not buying those. The only time those squeak in is after we've done conventions, which obviously is not a thing this year, so...
Yeah,
it's kind of interesting.
Most of the games now that end up a 7 or a 6 are games that I bought for the kids or bought for the family, and that's just I enjoy playing them. But if there's games I enjoy playing with the family, but if you say, hey Hunter, you want to pick a game to play,
that's not. What you're gonna pick
rarely why they end up being a 7 or 6. We kind of touched on this, but if I was rating it, for the family experience, it would have a different rating, right? And how I feel it would work for kids would have a different a third rating, right? So it is what it is.
Okay, we have a couple questions here.
Okay.
Let's see. Will you do the same thing after Rebecca's list is done? Because if so, I will keep notes.
I don't know if Rebecca she's not much of a trivia person when it comes to board games.
No, I'm not. Which is funny because I love doing the
Brothers Murph thing?
The Brothers Murph, like when they do their game shows, and I love doing the game shows and stuff, but my own stats...
Yeah.
For me, it's almost a fickle thing because depending on my mood, and Hunter was just laughing about this today, like if my brain is on and I'm ready to go, I will take down a heavy Euro and destroy him. And then there's like days like today where I'm like, hey... You know what? A medium game is about as far as I'm going to go mentally. So here we are,
right.
So it's like those games and me keeping track of the stats and stuff. It's really hard for me to make my top 100 list because I have to pinpoint a place and time and do the complete list like pretty much in one sitting. Otherwise, It's going to change a little bit again. So I'm bad about that. So it'll be interesting. If we do it, it'll be Hunter looking at my stats and making the quiz
Right.
from that, not because of...
Honestly, the quiz...
I just don't.
The quiz was for funsies, but
Yeah, it's
it
fun,
was
it's
kind
fun.
of, it was kind of me thinking about things, right?
Which is...
Like
it's
so-
actually a neat thing
like
to
so,
do. I liked it.
someone made the point. There's only 12 games that have been on my list all 5 years. That means 88 games that I rated in my top 100 in
We're not
2015
Yeah.
are gone off my list.
Which means
Which is crazy, right? When you think about it. But
Yeah.
but between 2015 and now, we've probably played 600-700 games.
And think about all the amazing games that have been coming out in the last 5 years. I mean,
Right.
that explains a lot of that.
Right.
And it's proof positive that
Well,
it is a
yeah,
thing.
almost every game we buy is going to bump the majority
Yeah.
of that list, right?
Sai also would like to know, he would like you to rate your games closest to the second decimal place, because he really wants to know what's in between 9.11 versus 9.12.
I've considered doing that too. I've considered doing it, but then
I think that was tongue-in-cheek.
I know it's tongue in cheek, but like Rado does his like 3 decimal places or something.
Would it
on
make
his
sense
website.
though when you're trying to rank? That makes perfect sense.
But what would happen if I did that, and I really don't want to do that? I would have
Perfectionist.
War of the Ring 10, City of the Big Shoulders 9.99, and it would just go down my 100. Because that's what it would be, right? You basically would
What's wrong
see.
with that?
But then I come back next year and I add a new game. Then I have to re-rate every game and push it all down. No, there's no way.
What? You're not
That's
just
crazy
sitting
talk.
around, like, that should be like your new hobby. You're like,
If it was a website like Rado's website, he has
I
his own
enjoy
website, that would
knitting,
be easy to do. It's
rating
easy
games
to
on BGG.
it's easy to insert a row, add a number, and decrease everything below it by 0.001, right? That's easy to do. On BGG, you can't do that as easily.
that's true. So you should do your own. You like spreadsheets. You should spreadsheet rate all of your games to
Okay.
the like 20th decimal.
Okay. I'll work on that.
Okay. You're lucky that your Kickstarter's been mostly 7s and higher. That is good. Yeah, because that can be. You're right. Depending on what kind of Kickstarters you're going after.
But I do a lot when I
That's
do a
research for those are-
Kickstarter. I do a lot of research. I watch all the review videos. I read the rules to the game. I do a lot before I back a Kickstarter.
Oh, how much overlap do you think there will be between your lists?
Between our lists, 50 games, 50-ish.
Ooh,
games.
Nick's saying 72%.
I think 50 games. She likes a lot of lighter family games that they're not in my top 100.
Yeah,
A
and I like more
lot
party
of
games than he does and stuff. It's true. We'll see. It'll be
I
interesting.
think about halvesies.
What we're going to do, actually, as a side note, we like to do, it was really fun, and we're going to keep doing it, is Hunter makes what he calls the combo list.
The
So,
definitive.
the definitive top 100 list. We combine our list. He gives the higher the rank, the higher the score they have.
Right.
So he takes them and does a comparison, and then ranks our games accordingly.
Right.
And so they kind of all whoop, you know.
Yeah.
And it's interesting because some of the games that like one of us is crazy passionate about, that someone's kind of meh, just rockets up the list because that one person has it so high. We've laughed about that.
Yeah,
before.
I mean,
so it's really fun.
I think we've done it twice. So if you
Yeah.
go back and look, there's 2019, 2018, we did it. And what we do, it's funny, I compile
Yeah.
the list, and we do a scroll, and we do it live, and we talk as the scroll goes by.
Yeah.
So,
Hypnotoad has a good question, and you did not talk about this today.
what's that?
What process do you use to rank the games? Do you use software?
Yeah, so I go out to Pub Meeple. They have a ranking system. So what you do is you just take... What I do is you can go to Board Game Geek. I have everything, all my games that I've rated on Board Game Geek. You can download that information to a spreadsheet. And then you just take and I alpha order them. So that way they're not any kind of bias. I alpha order all the games. And you can plug it into a Pub Meeple. They have a ranking system. You just copy and paste the text in of all the different games. And what it does is it takes those games and it randomly, there's an algorithm to it, but basically they pick 2 games and you say, okay, which game do you prefer, game A or game B? And you click on this and say, I prefer this game. And then it brings back 2 more games and compares those, and it uses an algorithm. It's a sorting system. I mean, I'm not going to go too deep into sorting algorithms, but there's a sorting system where he's comparing games until it creates a list from 1 to the last game on your list, and it's a cool little system. It's a really it takes a ton of comparisons. So for my 286 games, I think I had to do almost 1,500 comparisons.
Yeah, it's fun. It's actually, some of those are really fun and easy, and you're like, well, duh. And then you get these agonizing ones where you sit there for several minutes going,
And you kind of just go, which game? Way I look at it is which of these two games would I want to play over the other ones, right? So I'd go, I'd rather play this game. I'd rather play this game, and it kind of just sorts them and keeps giving comparisons until it lines up all the games in a little sorting system.
You know what, Corley? That's something that I did the last time, I believe, too. Is I do the top 9 or 10 manually. Yeah, I've done.
However it falls out, it falls out.
I had the first time I used Pub Meeple thing like he used it. I did end up slightly adjusting my top 10 because I didn't feel like it was quite right. So I agree with that.
I had a whole discussion one year. I think it was one of the intros or after parties. I did a whole discussion on bias, right?
Yeah.
So think of it this way. So you got game A and you got 3 games, A, B, and C.
Yeah.
So you compare game A and B, and you go, oh, I prefer game A over game B, right? So you go, oh, okay. But then you compare B and C, and you go, ooh, I'd rather play C over B. But then you come back and you say, well, I'd rather play C over A, and there's a paradox anomaly thing that happens because you compare 3 games and it doesn't. I think that bias could cause problems with that sorting, right? Because if you just happen to compare these 2 games, and you pick this one as better, but if it would have compared 2 other games, your list could have potentially sorted differently, right? So I think
you should do a by the numbers thing if you haven't on that.
I did.
Okay,
I think I did buy numbers on that. I
thought you did. I thought you were going to.
It's a thing, right? Because it's like you compare an apple and orange. Like, oh, I like oranges better than apples. And you look at the orange and the pear, you go, oh, I like pears better than oranges. But then you look at the pear and the apple, and go, oh, I like apples better than pears. And it's like a paradox that happens, right?
Yeah.
I don't know if I said that right.
I'm pretty sure.
Hopefully, you know what I mean.
If that happens, the universe explodes, right?
Yeah. It's just how can you if A is greater than B and C is greater than B, then how can C be less than A?
Yeah.
And that's kind of how it's a paradox, right?
Just gone.
But when it happens when you compare 2 games, when they're compared to each other, you might not you like this game better for this reason, but then you like this other game better for this reason. I don't know if that's making any sense.
I think it was
I'm yammer-yammering.
No. It's interesting, yammer. Corley did something that I started when I first was doing BGG2 is making notes while you're rating so you can kind of see how it's changed over time. And I did make notes of who I was playing with and notes about the game when I first started rating them, and I totally quit doing it. But I think if you did stick with that, it would be really good because you can see how and why things have shifted, right? Like why you like it or something. I think that's a cool idea. I like that. But to me now, it's just that's too much work. Hunter's been doing all the stats and the scores and keeping track of all that and looking at it, and I've been I logged my play. that's I don't know. It's been bad. So
Pub Meeple's a new Infinity Gauntlet. It kind of is.
Right?
It is and I think that paradox happens in life and you don't even realize it, right?
It does. Oh, totally.
You compare 2 things, you prefer one, but then when you compare that with something else, you would prefer this other thing. But when you compare the original thing with the other thing, then it's just which do I buy, right? It's the same. It happens in life all the time. You probably don't even realize. It's not. Yeah, it kind of is AP. I mean, it happens when you're shopping. It's ooh, I like this for this feature, but I like this thing has this feature, but it doesn't have this feature. But this thing has both features, but not as good as those things. And you're like, oh, it's the same kind of thing.
That's why everything should be a la carte. The end.
Kind of. That's why people build their own computers, right?
Right. Oh man, I used to love doing.
All right. Well, that's kind of it for me.
Oh hey.
Oh, that's we have a question.
Zeris, I gotta hear that. There's actually a name for that where voter preferences don't always match if A over B. That's cool. You don't want to dig up the name? Oh, you're killing me.
I mean, it's a mathematical. It's actually.
I want to know the name.
It's actually a paradox. It's actually exists in the world.
Yeah, and like you said, it's even in things that we deal with on a frequent basis, like voting or
buying something.
Buying choices.
That's why people sometimes when they go shopping, their brain just melts because they can't.
Well, that's why
they can't.
the like you said, the build your own computer. Where I think it was Dell started doing that first, where you could go in and pick and choose the stuff in a generic set.
I think it was Gateway, but Dell did it too.
Yeah, and then you could. For the certain cost, you could pick and choose certain options if you wanted the other things. Right. You paid for it or whatever, but you got to pick instead of saying, well, you got these things you have to do, and I think it alleviates.
And the whole buyer's remorse thing, right? You buy something, you're like, oh, but I like that feature on this thing. But it doesn't.
We're so spoiled. First world problems.
All right, that's it for me. No more discussion of my top 100. It's done.
What?
It is as they say in the movie industry.
10 seconds.
It's in the can. It's in the can. It's been put in the can.
It's gone.
It's time for Rebecca.
Ta-da!
So Rebecca will be doing her top 100 very soon. She usually compiles it in December-ish, and then we usually film in January-ish.
But probably, given how things have been going, we may do it over Christmas break this year, though.
So look for that coming soon. You want to talk about anything that you might see in your top 100 trends, things you're worried? Like last year she was in a certain mood, man, and it completely skewed her list really strangely. Like you were not wanting to play heavy games, so your heavy games were you were just punishing heavy games last year.
I did.
So you think that there'll be a similar thing this year, or do you think there's going to be any influence?
I think, it's going to depend on how traumatized I feel by the end of Christmas break. And I mean that seriously because it has affected things because I know that my concentration has been way down. So I don't... It's weird. I think I'm going to have a weird flux this year, but I don't think it's going to punish just heavy games. I think, like you, potentially my multiplayer games are either going to get a nostalgic lift or a pseudo hit because, again, that desire to play or the fact that I haven't been able to play those things.
Yeah, a lot of my games that I wasn't able to play kind of got punished a little bit. My ones that require 3 players. Yeah,
I noticed you're 3 players, but the ones that you really want to play as a group, you were giving them a boost.
Right.
You were really boosting them. So it's really funny. It was a weird mix.
Right?
Yeah. But oddly enough, I don't know. It's really weird. So it's... I think what's really going to shine this year for me are our sweet spot games that you like to call them. The ones that are mid to heavyweight, last anywhere from 60 to 120 minutes, play well 2-player. I think that's going to be the heart of my really big, like, heavy hitters that are going to be really high this year.
A few questions. Are you going to do the same format I did? Do you like the format live, all pre-produced and live?
Yeah, I think so. You guys all seem to be pretty universally like approving of that, and I don't see a reason to change it. And I liked it.
What are you going to do for legacy games?
For legacy games, I'm only going to do what we've played this year.
So we have one eligible game.
Yes.
One eligible legacy game.
Yes. Unless we crack out Pandemic Season 0 before then.
Yeah.
Which is possible. It's sitting right there.
I agree. I'm going to go back to that for next year.
But the reason is for the reason that you said during the discussion tonight. I feel like it's A, doing it a disservice, and B, it's kind of sad in a way to just watch it fall down the list because it's not, I don't know, it's like it's never
doesn't feel
right
again.
It doesn't feel right. I'm like, how can I rank this? I think I like what you guys were saying earlier this evening about talking about them either during now like the after party or talking during the introduction about legacy games and all of that stuff. And I might do a pseudo rank, like a separate mini rank of all the legacy games, like where I think they stand out of all of the ones I've played, just like a top 5 kind of thing, because I think that's all I've played is 5.
Yeah, about
right
5.
Around there. So
true legacy, rip up the board,
put on stickers, write on it, the works. Yeah. So I'm thinking about doing that because that actually would be a fun exercise anyway.
Like I said, once we get to 10, we'll do a list. But
it'd be worth it, right? Will a wild 18XX appear on my list? You know what? I honestly am not sure yet.
Are you gonna? I assume you're gonna do them separate.
I would do 18XXs separate because to me they're very different.
I agree.
I'm not so familiar with the games where I'm like, it's all the same. You just change this and this. To me, like approaching how they changed the different ways that the stocks worked was like relearning it every time for me because I'm like, okay, wait a minute, my mindset. I mean, it takes me a while to wrap my head around that stuff, so I have to definitely treat them separately. I would think they're different. Girly gamer. I'm thinking it's like a crazy hour at your place.
No, she's, let's see, it's like 11 hours ahead.
Yeah, so aren't you an early riser? It's
like early morning.
Yeah, you being an early bird.
Watching sunrise
we're dodging
over the ocean. And
I know, she's like having this nice peaceful morning. We're dodging tornadoes. And but yeah, it's going to be... yeah, it's just, I'm not sure. I don't think it's going to be a huge shakeup from last year, but I do think that there will be some.
I think your games are your list is going to skew really light like really family and light. Because the reason I say this is my personal guess.
Okay.
A lot of your
I'm
top
curious.
10s have been skewing that way too.
That's true.
When we're doing top 10s, I'm like heavy game, big, massive
That's
Euro heavy game. And you're like
true.
family game, party game, filler game. It's like our lists are very different from
That's
each
true. I
other
will
when we
say
do top 10s.
one thing that I have gained a very strong appreciation for, because I mean we have been very much getting heavier and heavier and heavier in our games, and like for heavy games, I'm talking Lacerda heavy, and I love Lacerda, but I have gained a really strong appreciation for lighter games in a whole new light this year as just I don't know, I've always used board games as an entertainer, but never so much for de-stress as I have this year. And it has been for de-stressing, and it has been medicinal, and it is interesting because sometimes the ones that truly have worked the best, like you said, were my fluffy, don't really require a whole lot of thought or strategy or any long-term strategy anyway, that I'm actually going to play well. Because there's been a couple times I'm sure Hunter's like, am I playing against someone? Because I'm like, well, I just screwed that up. Whoops. And I'm like, okay, whatever. And I'm sure you were like, awesome. This won't be hard to win, but
I do enjoy to win, but I'm playing to maximize my score.
That's true. No, I know, and
I'm not really like.
I haven't made it very difficult for you to win, though. Sometimes.
Well, that's true too. But I find it interesting because I log my plays. Since the start of the year, I've been logging all my plays, which we might talk about towards the end of the year on one of the variety shows. But I look and go, okay, I scored 130 last time. I'll see if I can beat that score. So
right.
It's less.
Right.
Beating the other players that's why
it's
I like
afternoon.
It's beating myself. Yeah, I keep forgetting that not only is she like the east side of Australia, and we got daylight savings time, which added another.
Oh, that's right.
Another hour. I'm used to. I have coworkers that work in Malaysia, and they're 13 hours ahead. But right now they're 14 hours ahead, so I can understand why.
Oh my gosh!
East Australia would be
get rid of daylight
16
savings.
hours
Who's
ahead.
with me? But yeah. Oh, Corlew, to answer your question though, that is.
What's the question?
Well, so she says, I keep doing games that the family plays on a lot of our lists and stuff. True. So the list will be just games I like. Yes, the games will be games just that I exclusively like. It's all about me during that list because I do want to make my list, and that's why again it is semi-fickle. It's probably less stable when I do just mine for that reason because, like I told you, my moods on approaching the games and stuff are going to be very
I think your games
different.
are going to skew hard.
You think they're going to be hard? I don't know if it's going to be hard light. I don't know. Right now, I would be okay with a heavier esque game. I don't think about it, but you're right. If by the time I do a few more weeks,
I say this because every time I look down there and I go, "Hey, let's play CO2, or let's play Pipeline, or let's play what else is over there that's big." We got some of the big ones played. She's like,
Yeah, but you also say that at like 8 o'clock at night or something too.
Whatever.
I don't know. It will be interesting.
All right, so look forward. We're looking forward to Rebecca's list. I'm very excited.
There's questions.
Oh, I got one question I want to ask the chat.
Okay.
And ask the
There's a couple good ones.
Ask the people after the fact in the comments. What do you think about next year swapping the order we do them in? You go first and I go second. Cause see, when the way it works now is when she does her list, my list is already done, so I can say, "Oh, that's my number 42," and it sucks because you made it a 75. If we swapped it,
I can do that to you.
Rather than her just making faces the entire time I'm making my list.
Why? What's
she can actually give constructive criticism with
Oh, that's constructive criticism.
So I'm considering, it's not locked in, I'm considering swapping and have her go first next year.
Gender equality.
Kind of. But more of the fact that she can't really give specific comments, right?
I gotcha.
You can only just talk about the game.
Well, I could, but it's a year old, right? My list, and so otherwise I'd be spoiling mine. I get it.
I'm thinking about next year swapping the order so that
the only thing that worries me This year has been the exception. Usually this is the time of year I get really sick. Traditionally, I miss out on BGG Fall.
If we were going to do this,
part of
we
Thanksgiving.
would push your list up.
Okay.
Up into the summer.
Okay.
And I would do mine at my normal time.
Ooh. That means this year is going to be a little... maybe not. Okay.
It's just something I'm floating around. See what you guys
the brain flopping around.
It is flopping around. My little brain matter flopping around in there.
No, don't bring that back.
I thought
bring that back.
Because it gives me a, when I'm commenting on her list, it gives me a vehicle to discuss, right? Compare it to my list. She doesn't have the ability to do that.
Yeah.
And
no, that's a good idea.
It would add a little oomph to your interaction.
Discourse.
You can say, there you go, discourse. That's a great word, discourse. It would add some more
brain flopping.
Some ammunition to what you're saying. So I'm considering that. And additionally, you get the list sooner next year.
That's true.
You don't have to wait as long.
And you guys know, because I'm so fickle, my list will change. So you don't know what is going to happen.
All right, so that's it.
Okay. What? Now, Hypnotoad had a question for you.
Okay.
What game in your top 100 had the most plays this year? That was a great question.
My top 100 is all over the floor. It's in the can over here.
Oh, fine. I'll get it for you, baby. It's in the can.
It's in the can over here.
Is that all of them?
What game in my top... Oh, I can answer that with my handy-dandy iPad.
Okay.
Because I started logging my plays.
Technology everywhere.
I've started logging my plays since...
Nick, don't go at us with facts and stuff about that we're at the standard time now. That's fine. Then we need to stay in this time. You hear what I'm saying? None of this flippy-floppy... Only our brains should flip-flop, not the time.
So here we go. I got my top 5 most played games of 2020. Number 1, Clank Legacy Acquisitions Incorporated, 7 plays.
Okay.
Lord of the Rings Journey in Middle-earth, 6 plays. 2 solo and 4 with Rebecca.
Yep. Was it only 4? Oh, okay.
Spyfall Time Travel, 5 plays. And that was all in one session.
Yes, it was.
At, where did we play that at?
Was it here?
I don't know. Was it with the game group? I can't remember.
I thought it was with the game group. I thought.
And
crazy?
A tie for 4th place. Tie for 4th place.
Okay.
Kung Fu Zoo, 4 plays. And Maracaibo, 4 plays.
Nice. That's good. That's good stuff.
There you go.
Okay. Let's see. There was a couple other questions. You guys are moving along on me.
So no, we don't play a lot of games.
I try to, but I only have fun to play with.
I don't play games a lot.
What is the heaviest game you like, and why is it Clue?
The heaviest game I like?
No, for me.
Oh, you?
Yeah, the heaviest game I like.
That you like really, really, really like? They're asking you?
Yeah, they're asking me.
Well, look up there, and don't forget the Lacerda games. I would say On Mars.
Probably On Mars, yeah, Lacerda. Well,
you like the Colonists as well.
I do like the Colonists, but we haven't played the whole thing yet. I feel, I want to play that.
I would guess that was it.
Yeah, because I think those are heavier than Through the Ages.
Yeah.
Yeah. I gotta be honest, I like Vinos and On Mars.
Those are probably the 2 heaviest.
Those are probably the 2 heaviest.
Mine is Arkwright.
Yeah, he likes Arkwright. I thought there's so many things I can say about that game. We can talk about that another day. Actually, you can go back and look at... I talked about that a lot already. Those are probably my 2. I don't want to say which one because I haven't quite sorted out which one I like a little better. To be honest, they're very close. And Clue, yeah. Clue is the one game.
She cheats at Clue.
I will, and I fully
admit it. Almost
admit
cost us to break up because she cheated at Clue.
We were already married. It was too late for you. No, I fully admit.
She cheats at Clue.
I hate Clue.
She cheats
and it's
at
the
Clue.
only game I cheat at. I watch where you write it on the paper.
She cheats.
And you can hold the paper upside down, and if I figure that out, I'll get it right anyway.
She cheats
and I still
she
lose
watch
that
where
game.
You mark your paper.
I hate that game.
I had to put a shield up when I played the game.
You big baby. No, you just turned your paper upside down, but I did that too. It's like, it doesn't trick me. Yeah, I hate that. I don't know why. Clue, what game was that? Awkward Guests is what I wanted Clue to be. Yeah. And I love that game, and that's probably going to be in my top 100 spoilers because it's...
They said it's detective work. You're playing Clue.
Yeah, you get me. Okay. But yeah, no, that game. That game. I don't know why I suck at that game, and I hate that game so badly. It's not a little black book. It's actually dark green. It's probably hard to see in this light.
What's this?
Your little black book.
My iPad? This is my iPad.
Your iPad. And Nick told me that 42 is the answer to life in the universe and everything, and it's a sign that this should be done. People are saying that the flopping around, and Nick says you shouldn't punitate my potential discourse.
What just happened?
Yeah, no, I'm just reading the comments about the
just
switching our top 10s order. I like that. This is great. Time to log plays. I know, that's why I just log the play and call it Good Girly Gamer. I'm in the same boat. I'm trying to see. And see, I don't even keep my collection up to date. If we have owned it at any point in time, it's in my owned list. So if we have culled the game, it's probably still in my owned list. I need to go and eventually
Every time I go
stuff.
through do my top 100, I do a re-inventory of all our games to make sure I have everything in its right spot.
What's the last game that we bought?
Well, that's kind of next time.
Oh.
Should we spoil our next? Well, this will be a great segue. We're going to segue into our outro.
Ooh, okay.
Our most recent purchase.
Ooh.
Well, that's actually here. Our most recent purchase.
I love awkward guests. Yes. That's wonderful.
Our most recent purchase, where did I put it?
Okay, I don't know who you are, but your name, Best at Star Trek, rocks officially.
Where did I put it?
What? Which one?
Our most recent purchase.
Oh. Yeah. Tekenu.
There you go.
I mean,
We'll talk.
You have no idea what we think
We've
about this game.
already played it twice, and we'll talk about it next time.
Actually, if you follow me on Twitter, you already know.
So let's lead into our outro here. So next week, 1 week from tonight, we're back to our normal schedule.
Normal.
It's going to be the variety show. We're going to do a variety of things, especially talk about the games we played most recently, including Tekenu.
You're like working a green screen all of a sudden. What was that? You're like, the clouds are over here.
We have a handful of new games that we played, and maybe more handfuls by the time Tuesday rolls around.
Woo woo.
And then 1 week from then, 2 weeks from tonight, I went back to our poll of our top 10 suggested games. You guys voted. I took the second place game, one of the second place games. Several games tied for 2.
Excellent.
Our top 10 next time, top 10 1 in 100 games. 1001 to 2000.
Yes! I've wanted to do that. Okay.
And I looked at this list. We're going to have games that we've never talked about before.
I'm excited about that one. I wanted to do that.
We've never, there's like a handful of games like I don't think we've ever talked about this game. So, you're going to get a lot of games that we have rarely or not talked about before.
So it's 1,000 to 2,000 basically?
1001
whatever.
to 2000.
2,000, okay.
So basically the way that works is we go out to Board Game Geek, we sort the games by their ranking, and we take groups of 100. So we do 1001 to 1100, and we take our favorite game in that set of hundreds, and then we just do that for each of the set of hundreds. Yep. We don't rank them by which ones we like best or worst. We just do. She's going to have a game for 1001 to 1100, and I'll have a game for 1000, and then maybe the same game, it may be a different game.
Truth.
So,
I'm so stoked about this.
Have I played
Mandala?
No.
No, have not played that yet.
But anyway, that's it, folks. We're done. I'm
excited. This is gonna be fun. I'm looking forward to this.
Thank you so much for watching our top 100. I greatly appreciate it. I assume you're watching this. You probably watch the top 100. We're looking forward to Rebecca's top 100. We'll see you next week. And I never say this, but I'm going to say it this one time. If you like our stuff, please subscribe.
What?
So once a year during my after party, I say those words.
That's true. That's true.
And that's the only time I say, for the most part, I say
like, share, subscribe, bye! Yeah, I know.
Ring the little bell.
Oh, yeah, I forgot about the bell. You should pull out the pit bell and do that every episode now.
Ring the bell!
Ding, 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 ding. And that's why we don't do that, because he would.
I would.
Bye, love. Happy Thanksgiving, peeps.
Oh, I didn't even mention Thanksgiving.
Because we're grateful
Enjoy
for
your
all
holiday.
of you.
Enjoy your holiday.
Whether you're in the U.S. or not.
You. We're thankful for you. Where's the...
He's like, I can't leave.
I can't find my...